Okay, here we are back with this 76,000 mile Michigan truck. And I took this inner fender well out because it's just easier to get to the starter. And I got it up in there and the wiring is just very tight. So I prefer to put the starter in and then hook up the wiring. You can see that stud is empty right there and the nut is loose. So that's my job today. I kind of decided before I pull that rear end, before I swap it with the one that's sitting on the floor, I'd really like to get some fluid in the transmission and start this thing up and kind of do a baseline on the rest of the truck. Remember there was a idler pulley on the belt drive that was making some noise, and who knows what else might go wrong. So I just want to get this thing started, let it run for a little while in the shop, and see how it goes. So I need the starter, I need the exhaust put together, and I need fluid in the transmission. I'll check all the fluids in the engine, coolant, oil, stuff like that, and then we will get going. I did mention that this truck was out in the field one of the last times before it was parked, and I probably should have washed all this mud off. The bleeder screw is gone. The brake hose is in poor shape, and I will replace that at a minimum before I even try to drive this on the road. So that's that. And there we go. There's my list of things to do for the Cadillac. I've got to do the battery, check engine oil, check coolant, put in the transmission fluid, check the transfer case level, hook up the exhaust, check the power steering fluid. Well, I have 8 quarts of training fluid in it, and I have to put the battery in and see if it'll start before I finish filling the rest. I want to be able to burp the system and not act like it's over full trying to pump it up. All right, this is the moment of truth. The battery's hooked up, and so far there's no evidence that mice have totally trashed the wiring, because I heard a click inside, but I didn't hear anything scatter or any smoke going out. So it's time to crank this thing over and see what happens. Wish me luck. Well, that wasn't the smoothest running engine I've ever heard, but it has been sitting for a very long time. I didn't have any check engine lights or anything like that, so I'm going to check the fluid level, top it off as needed, and keep going at the project. Well, all that noise when it started up the first time was because this outside manifold bolt is broken. So now that it warmed up a little bit, that noise went away, and I'll most likely add a set of JBA stainless steel shorty headers to the list of things to grab for this in the long run. Well, it ran long enough for me to get the transmission topped off, and all is well with that. It's starting to get a little stinky in the shop, So I'm going to wrap it up for the night and get some fresh air. I made a short list of things that I need to grab for this. And some of it is necessary, some of it is just because I would like to. The pads have good wear left on them, but I'd like to do new calipers and new rotors, so I might as well just do the pads too. I have a leak on the high pressure power steering line, and just some maintenance stuff needs to be done. And otherwise, this is looking promising. I'd like to get this thing wrapped up in the next week or two, and have a spare truck with a plow on it for the winter. I do have some brake components here that are labeled for an Avalanche, an 03 Avalanche. So I'll do some cross-referencing and see if these will fit this truck as well, being a 99 half-ton Silverado. That would make things a little easier on the pocketbook.